Okay, leave your hands up, leave your hands up. And I want to ask you guys, if you guys really dreamed of doing medicine, like whether it be in your final year or whether it was from birth, like as far as you could remember, leave your hands up, all right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, no one's putting their hand down, because you really can't at this point. That's enough. But yeah, if you really do mean that, I just want to say to you that you've got to be the biggest nerds I've ever seen. See, when I was in year 12, there was nothing more I wanted to do than play basketball in the NBA, right? And that was the second dream of mine, was closely followed by getting a girlfriend, because I was 17, right? Unfortunately, study got in the way, because I was studying a lot. I figured it'd be good to have a trade, you know, some labor-intensive job like medicine to fall back into, just in case I didn't make the first one. But as year 12 went on, I guess, you know, year 12 is year 12, so you didn't get as much of an opportunity to go. Those 5 training sessions I did every week, they went down to 3 as I started getting classes. As it went further on, I guess, all that study and all that stress, I just didn't even want to go to trainings after a while. And I guess that was all the study, right? And then I think I realized I knew something was wrong when I just started playing basketball one day, just for fun. When I did, I couldn't even run up the court without my legs feeling like lead. I was sleeping 16 hours a day at that point, and that was with half yearlies coming up in 2 weeks, and I'd had, you know, hour-long nosebleeds. I remember saying to Mum, like, I don't even know, like, if I want to even live at that point, because I really was feeling like I was dying. And then I was called in to the GP one day to go straight to emergency, and I will always remember that day because I was sitting there in the backyard on the lounge chair by the pool with my dog's head in my lap, and I just wanted to stay there forever. But I went into emergency, and I guess you guys have seen emergency from the other side, right? But on the patient's side, it's really scary. You're waiting there for an hour, you have all this angst, all this worry going on, and people don't have enough time for you, and it's not fun. But I was seen straight away, which is, I guess, uncharacteristic. And I remember little snippets of those moments, like the nurse saying, "He's only 17." I remember there's this thing written on the bottom of my notes, bone marrow failure. I remember looking at Dad and saying, "Dad, is that leukemia?" Because I'd read about it, right, in the book when I was like 12. And he looked at me dead in the eyes and said, "No." 2 days later, this man I'd never met before came up to me and told me, "Nikhil, the good news is you're 17 and you have leukemia, but the bad news is, well, you're 17 and you have leukemia." And my first response was shock. I mean, what a thing to say to someone at that moment, right? As if I wasn't suffering enough as it was. But then when I plucked up the courage to ask him, you know, what are my chances? He looked at me, he sighed, and he said, 10 to 20% that you'll live the next 5 years. And I was devastated. I remember crying into Mum's arms for so long, I can't even remember. I was just all this fear, this depression, this sadness, but mostly this sense of unfairness was going on in me, because all I could ask myself at that point was, why me? I hadn't done anything to hurt anyone at that point. If anything, I was dedicating to my life to try and do something the complete opposite, right? I was only 17, for God's sake. This wasn't supposed to happen to me. And for a while there, I lay in that despair, that misery for so long, it felt to me. I wanted to get out, right? But at that point, what was there to look forward to? It was just pain and misery written in my future as far as I could tell. But one day, I did this thing that I realized, looking back, was completely amazing and life-changing. I took a step back from all that pain and misery that I was feeling, and I just decided to look at what had happened to me as if it had happened to someone else. And I think from there, I could really start questioning what I was doing, and I realized, you know what? I had cancer now, and no matter how much I wanted to, no matter how much I wanted to turn back that clock and change things, I couldn't do that. But why was I feeling all those things? Because I realized at that point as well that all of that was coming from me, my mind, right? No one can come into your head and make you feel these things. And what was it accomplishing? All that sadness, that anger, that frustration, nothing, other than making me feel worse for myself, about myself. So I said, well, what should I do? What would I tell someone in my position to do at that point? And it became clear, you know what, I should go forwards just trying to be as healthy as possible, and whenever I could, just being happy. But again, there was that big elephant in the room, that pain, misery, and probable death that was lying there in the future. So I decided, let's try that whole process on that too. So the chemo that was coming up, I was looking at it as something that would bring pain and misery, and I guess it would have. But why does everyone just look at it as something that brings all of that? When wasn't it also medication, the very thing that could probably get me out of this? Those chances that I was given, the 10 to 20%, I was fixated on that. But wasn't it also just that, a chance? My doctor, he wouldn't be treating me not as aggressively as he was if he didn't think there was, right? And you know, I also resolved to myself at that point, if I was told that I had, 2 or 3 months left to live, that I could either look at it as that I have 2 or 3 months and then I'm gone forever, or that I have 2 or 3 months left to live, to make every second count, to live life with my family, to just experience everything I could at those moments. And I think that whole journey, that whole experience of how I got through that's let me know one thing for sure. You will always have a second way of looking at things, no matter how dark or desperate life seems. It's not easy to see that all the time, but yeah, that whole mindset, that frame of thinking, I guess, that's helped me do so much more than just get through all the other hurdles that I've had to face, like relapse and another cancer. It's also helping me write and help others going through all that stuff. It's helped me try and research and find and propose new ways of looking at cancer. It's started me thinking about a way to make a thing where people could give in their spare time, something I hope could even challenge Facebook or YouTube in the future. And in the end, all of that actually came from my doctor's words, because everyone around me was telling me, Nikhil, you can do this. My parents, my brother, my friends, my nurses. But it was his words and his actions that I really latched onto, because in the end, he was a specialist. He was the guy who was responsible for my health for the next while, right? That whole idea of, well, he wouldn't be treating me this hard if I didn't have a chance, that stuck with me. And it was in the end his words that even got me thinking about it in the first place, because I thought I was cursed to get this thing at 17. But in the end, wasn't it also a blessing? I could stand the hardest treatments possible. I had friends and family on my side rather than people who relied on me. I could get through this and maybe even be healthy afterwards. So maybe the bad news was I was 17 and I had leukemia. But the good news was I was 17 and I had leukemia. Right? And I want to let you guys, all the doctors especially here, know that no matter what, you can always make a difference. I know it's very hard to do that in an environment where you're going to be seeing misery, pain and suffering and death come through your door every single day. It can really take it out of you. And doctors, we have the highest rates of depression of any profession. We're highest in alcoholism. We're second highest in suicide. I just came from a service for a friend and colleague of mine who took his own life. And I think that just goes to show that your underlings, the medical students, nurses and interns, they feel these stresses too. But I think that lets me know, if anything, you really need to be there more for your patients, because trust me, you do make a difference. And if you can be that guy, that doctor, that person who comes into work every day, being the person that can take some pain and misery out of people's life, instead of thinking, I'm coming in for another 10-hour shift where I have to tell these guys bad news and where I just have to watch so much of that with no breaks at all, you'll be thinking, whose day can I make? Whose pain can I ease? Whose life can I change at those moments? Because you know what? My doctors did a lot for me, right? Not just those words. What made my doctors special to me wasn't their medical decisions and all that. Like, I am thankful for that though. What made them special to me was those times they'd talk about fishing before a consult. It was that time that one of them walked me down to a biopsy when I was scared while he was writing notes anyway. It was that time one wrote a letter to the medical entrance board saying why I should be allowed to sit my medical entrance exam and have it counted. Those things, I can never thank them enough, and they've changed everything for me. And I mean, the outcome, that can be something that really gets you too. Sometimes, I guess we can't change those things. We're not miracle workers, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of boos for this, but we're not the Australian cricket team, all right, guys? No, we can't always change every single patient. We can't convince everyone to quit smoking. We can't take away pain from chronic illness patients. We can't stave off death all the time. But your words and actions really do matter. Take it from someone who knows. And I've sat down with patients and families who are on their deathbed, and what their families tell me afterwards is that their loved ones in their last moments, they remembered that game of snakes and ladders we played, right, as a family before they passed. They remembered that barbecue we took them out for on Father's Day when he was stuck in hospital for so long. They remember that YouTube link I sent one of them when they got told there wasn't anything their doctors could do, that let them know that there was still a lot that they could take out of life. Those things, they do stick. They do really, really help. But it doesn't require a lot from you either. I mean, those things my doctors did for me, they took a few seconds. And I was just in hospital last week, and I saw this really nice young registrar who came in and examined me. She asked my history, but she let it be known that I could tell her anything I wanted. She sat down at eye level and really, really talked to me from there. And she asked me at the end, you know, do you have any questions for me, Nikhil? And all those things, those little tiny things, but they really made me feel safe and cared for at those moments. And those are things that are not done enough in the wards, I feel, but they're things that you should really, really do. So I'm gonna leave you guys here with one final thought, something that Patch Adams, a famous clown doctor, once said to me. He asked me, Nikhil, do you stop being a doctor once you leave those hospital doors? And I think it goes to show that I actually lied to you guys here today, because you don't need to be a doctor to heal with your actions and your words, right? As a wise, now old man, my father, he's just turned 50, by the way, guys, 2 days ago, so yeah, give him a round of applause. You made it. Don't listen to him when he says he's my older brother. He tries it a lot, but he's not. The words he told me though were those that you never know when someone is going through some hardships, right? There could be a kid down the road whose parents have been fighting for a while, who just needs someone to distract him from that. That lady you see in the train every day, maybe she's had to face the passing of a loved one and she just needs someone to smile at her. And I remember after he told me that, the first time I actually took that into practice. And I was standing in line at the grocery store, you know, and I saw this really old lady just bagging away, just really grumpy, tired, and you could tell she was just over the day. So when it came to be my turn, I pulled this lettuce out of the trolley and I said, hey, beautiful, this is for you. And you know what? She laughed at that moment and she said, that just made my day. But in the end, her smile made mine. So guys, go out there, make the most contagious thing in hospital a smile rather than MRSA. And let's go out there and do that, because I think it really is the most contagious thing.